We are live.
We are. Go.
All right. Welcome into the next episode of the Volleyball Podcast with Lion and Cole. And we have a very special guest today, Mr. Aleksandr. Is that what you want to go by?
Yeah.
Also called the Lion King. He is a professional beach volleyball player. Has been for a very long time. We're going to go over some of his highlights, some of the things that he has done, some of the things he is doing. We're going to learn some lessons that he thinks are important for you all to learn. We're going to ask him some questions. We're going to have open conversation. More than anything, we're going to have some fun. So, everybody, you guys can introduce yourselves. I'm Lion Crispy Austin. What's your name?
Oh, we have two lines here.
Yeah. We have two. Now,
don't be confused.
you're out. Are you out or are you in?
On this line?
Yeah.
No, I'm on.
You're on the outskirts.
Yeah, I'll be on the out.
What's your,
I gotta keep the Lions, tame. I'm Cole Fears. Yeah, I'm back. Hello, everybody.
All right, so the first thing we want to know is where you're from, because we know, but the audience may not know.
I'm from a small European country, Latvia, with 1.8 million inhabitants total. And so we are pretty north. Now we have snow, and we usually have, you can practice at the beach for, if you're a fanatic, maybe 5-6 months a year.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's pretty cold. Like me, having been somebody who's lived in Finland for multiple years of my life, I know what it's like being northern that way. How about you? Do you have any experience?
With the cold, I'm pretty much a warm weather guy. Southern
just
California and
beach.
Beach
Yeah,
life.
beach life. So to drop some quick hits for Zender, he is the only person from a team standpoint to have beaten Phil Dahlhauser in the 2008 Olympics. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and has been ranked number 1 in the world multiple
3
times.
years.
Yeah, as a team, and has been to 3 Olympics now.
Yeah.
Been 3 Olympics, so has just done a bunch of really cool stuff that other people desire to be able to do, and they'd like to know how. And I suppose that the number one thing that normally sticks out is that he's not your typical 6'9", 6'10", or in European centimeters, 2'10", 2'11", in height. How tall do you call yourself?
I used to be 6'8", but now probably 6'5".
Okay, so he shrunk. He shrunk at his older age.
A lot of jumps, a lot of jumps, and you just.
That's right. The cartilage is going away. So he's not, like I said, he's not the typical for who's finishing at the top of these tournaments, which you find guys like Aleksandrs from Brazil, Phil Dahlhauser from the United States, and others. Nicola from Italy, and all these other guys. But being able to have success. How have you been able to find so much success at your height and playing consistently over the years? You've been able to have sustainable.
I would say hard work and love about beach volleyball, huge. Because I'm not, as you mentioned, physically I'm not very talented. I'm not jumping high, and I'm not very fast at courts. I don't have some really great reaction in defense. My technique is not perfect, but because I'm ready to play beach volleyball 12 hours a day, and I was always and I never missed any practice in my life, because every time I go to practice I enjoy the process. It's not like you need to push me to go to practice. And I just say, we were having a lunch, and my coach saying it would be great if you could do maybe one more training in this camp. Camp is over, so it was last practice in the morning. So okay, let's just finish lunch, let's go, do one more.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go. And I was lucky because my father was my first coach, and he was my coach for 16 years. And I just switched coach 3 years ago.
Wow.
And he's fanatic, he's 24/7 in beach volleyball. Even at the court all the time, and then when he's back home, he can still all the time. If he's not playing beach volleyball, if he's not coaching, he's talking about beach volleyball. Right. He loves beach volleyball, and that's why he believes that we can go in the Olympics. Before, when we just started, all the professional athletes, they were guys from indoor, show up to the beach and say, okay, let's practice. And the practice was just play or do 3 teams side out. It was the only practice.
Right.
And my father was the first one who started to do drills, who was checking in the internet, or some information. YouTube just started to appear, and So he started to collect information and reading books, magazines, and we started to make drills and working a lot of the techniques. And when we were 18, my father said, okay, maybe for Athens it's a little bit too late. We need to try to qualify for Beijing. And before, all the professional adult teams, they never even qualified. Like in 10 years, once they made it to the main draw. And when he's saying like we need to go to Olympics, it's like it feels like something impossible. And then my partner Plavins, we square played in Beijing. He was Libero in indoor team.
Martin
Plavins, yeah. And when he came to his team in the changing room after the game, he said like, "Oh, Samoilovs senior said that we need to qualify to Beijing." He said like for 1 second it was silence, and then everybody started to laugh. And I said like, he's crazy. And after like 5 years, nobody was laughing. Like in 3 years, I remember when I was 17, I was watching on TV, Ricardo, Benjamin, Marcio, all these guys, they were dominating on the world tour. Emmanuel, I was like, wow, these guys are like gods. Like what they're doing, it's like when you're a beginner basketball player, you're watching LeBron and Kobe playing, it's like, wow, it's impossible what they're doing. And then in 3 years we came, we had training camp in the mountains, high in the mountains, and when we came back, we were like flying on the court because of this oxygen difference. And in this third match of a world tour, we beat Emmanuel Ricardos. They were #1 in the world ranking, and we were 20 years old. And in that moment, like my father said, okay, we are going the correct direction. And then in 2 years, we qualified to Beijing. And then we qualified as, we were the youngest team in beach volleyball history. We both were 23. And we just turned 23, me and Plavins. And the opening match, we were last to qualify. And Todd and Rogers, Dahlhaus, they were #1 seeded. And first match, we played against each other. It was a crazy experience. Like for me, like on the first time, 23 years old, you come to Olympics and you just eyes like constantly like wide open. You see people around, you see athletes, just Kobe passing by, and then Roger Federer eating next to you in the same table, and all these athletes and the atmosphere, and then the opening ceremony was spectacular. And when the first match we played on the stadium court, if you've seen the movie Gladiator, when he like before he's entering the stadium, so we are under the stadium, doors are closed, and you just feel the vibe and energy of a stadium. And when doors opens, you run inside, music, 12,000 people screaming, some mascots running. You toss the ball, your partner sets, you hit the balls of 12,000, like boom, together with you. I like goosebumps all the time I had, and we just started spending, we were on the wave. And for sure, for them it was huge pressure. They were #1s, they were going for a medal. But we already enjoyed the process, we qualified. That's all, we are done. And they played one of the best of a match, and they couldn't play on the level, and we beat them. And it was huge success and popularity in beach volleyball in Latvia, and they in 2 months they built first indoor facility. So now in 2008 we had first indoor facility, and now we already have 5 indoor facilities with 28 courts, and you can imagine we are 700,000 people in the capital, with 28 indoor courts. So
these are indoor courts, they're not sand courts.
Yeah, so we have a lot of schools with the kids, coming to beach volleyball, and then the people, and then now we start to have new generation, and our girls, Graudenia Kravchenko, they did 4th in Tokyo. So they started at this indoor facility that was opened in 2008. So that's the first steps in beach volleyball for Graudenia. And that's why like beach volleyball started to become really popular after it, and that was big success. And actually, Geeter, he was commentating in Beijing, and the first match when he called us, so it's like, okay, now team from Latvia #1, Aleksandrs, the Lion King, Samoilovs. I was like, what Lion King? What? He was the first.
No way.
Yeah, he called me Lion King, and then we won this match. And it was everywhere in media, and then media was just using this Lion King, and in Latvia everybody. They put in our biggest sport magazines, they put me on the first page when I'm like screaming, and so like a lion is roaring in Beijing. So
Wow,
it was,
love it.
and then Lion King, everybody was like calling me Lion King. And also because my last name, you know, even you can remember it, Aleksandrs Samoilovs, so it's for foreigners, it's hard to pronounce. So even foreigner, like all World Tour players, they just call me Lion King because it's easier to remember.
Yeah.
And then how it becomes
No, I had you were working out at the facility the other day, and somebody hit me in the DM, like literally, you were like in the background, like just posted on the bike, and somebody's like, "Is that the Lion King in the background?" I'm like, "Yeah." So, real cool story. No, Geeter's the man. He runs it down here in South Bay Volleyball, the voice. He's like the voice for us for sure. But man, super cool story. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I was wondering, like you said, you have this drive to play 24/7. Like all the time, like did that start? Were you born with that, or did you learn that?
Like, it was. My father is an athlete. He was. He played indoors and he switched to beach volleyball. And he came from small village from north. And his first steps in beach volleyball was in magazines, American magazines. It was in 90s, 70s. So like first magazines he saw. He said like, I don't know how I got these magazines. The library from where, but so he was reading, and what he did, he put a rope between trees, and then all the kids from the village is like, okay, let's come, and now so we will play volleyball, and then he started like some beach volleyball. It was fun when he told me about that, and when he went to college, then he started playing indoor. And then he moved to Jurmala. First time he came for practice, being as a student, and then he saw like this beautiful beach and people were playing. But it was only indoor players who just playing beach for fun. And most of the people they were playing 4 against 4, 5 against 5, 6 against 5. Nobody played 2 against 2. And when the first in 1989 was the first Latvian tournament, 2 against 2. And my father was dominating that because he was the one who was really focusing on beach volleyball since the beginning, and all the other guys they were just indoor guys who show up for a tournament, and that's why like I was all the time in the growing with my father with medals, cups, watching him competing. So I was all the time in this sport vibe.
Yeah.
And my mom is an engineer. She doesn't have nothing about sport. She's more culture. Theaters, concerts, shows, always. This part is more from my mom. But I have like stories about when we had in school once teacher asked like who wanna go to Olympian, but it was language like Latvian language Olympian, you know, and like first I heard about like Olympic. I said, raise my hand. I'm not here. Like I said, like I saw it's sports. It was no, it's actually like studies, you know, language Olympian, and I was always in this, and I was doing a lot of different sports because actually I switched into beach volleyball from basketball. I played 10 years basketball. And parallel to the basketball, I had all the time second sport. So I did 5 years swimming, then 2 years I played tennis, then 2 years I did kickboxing, 2 years I did the wrestling, then 1 year soccer. So I all the time had basketball as a main sport, and then all the time second sport, just more for fun.
Right.
Because it's not more like my friends. Like if somebody going to football, say, okay, I have basketball, but maybe like once a week I can go to football. Maybe I can go one more time straight after basketball to run. And so it was fun. And then when my father finished his career, professional as an athlete, last 2 years he played in Spain, and I said, okay, no. And then he started to coach me a little bit, but it was tough. Because my father, if you watch Hollywood movies about Marines, this is the way.
Oh, really?
Like he's a tough person. Like for really, like if you constantly were making like same mistake, he can even like take a slipper and punch you with a slipper. like he was all the time like screaming, and like if you do mistake, like if you, let me say, like when you play in defense, don't fall on your knees, stay on your legs. And for example, if you fall once, second, third, you said, okay, after practice you do like 100 times, you fall on your knee, you step up, you fall on your knee. So it was like if you run, we had, when we played, we started to play with plavins, we played against like 4 or 5 guys because we were become better and better. But they were like local guys who they were ex-indoor players, so
Right.
they were playing for fun, like a bunch of people here in Hermosa and Manhattan. So we started to play against like 2 against 2, and then there was not enough. So we were like 3, 4, 5, and then they were allowed. They could play indoor rules, so they were like playing with fingers, like setting how they want. And so against 6, so with 3 attackers, so they tried to play, and we had 2. And the exercise was always if you ball touch the ground and nobody of us touch block or defense, then we have to fall like imitating dig. It's in the place where ball dropped.
Oh,
So 4 times straight up to the point.
Reminds
And we
me
were
of
like,
someone.
for years we were playing like that. So automatically you need to like, ball can't just drop on the court,
Right.
like without anybody touching it.
Yeah.
So, and I think it was the real, and we were like practicing a lot. And when we started to do training camps in winter time, when we started to have sponsors because volleyball grew up, and the closest one for us just south was Egypt. So 10 years we had training camp in Egypt. So it's only 4, it's like completely different. It's in Africa, but it's only 4 hours flight down.
Okay.
And temperature was really good there, and climate and very cheap, everything. So we built a court there for our own money. And we were all the time coming, the renting apartment and staying in the same area for 10 years. And we were always practicing 3 times a day. So we were practicing, we had 15 sessions a week. So we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 sessions a day, Thursday off, Friday, Saturday, 3 sessions a day, Sunday off. And we were like 3 months training camp practicing like that.
Wow.
So it was like a lot of training.
That's a freaking message right there for today's youth who think like having an hour and a half, might be a little too long for training in a day, but that's what it takes. But what allowed you to stay, to go back on his question, what allowed you to stay motivated through all this, was that you feel like innate in you, like from birth you would have been that way, or was it having your dad to set the table in front of you? And if it was having your dad to set the table, do you think it would be possible or probable for a youth, if they don't have a parent, could they get that from a coach or from watching somebody like you play or an influence that way?
I think it's really important if you have somebody who can push you, at least at the beginning. Like for example, when my father was a professional athlete, he was most of the time traveling the same as I'm doing now. And our neighbor, he was a basketball player, so he took me to the basketball. And so he made his first push, and then I was going sometime because our families were friends. I was watching his basketball competitions, and so I started to love basketball. And then so he pushed me a little bit, and I started to play basketball, and I was in love with this sport. So it's important also, like with volleyball, like for me for sure, with my father, it was beach volleyball was everywhere in our home with the pictures and the medals, cups, volleyballs. My first present when I grew up, when I was born, my first toy was a volleyball. But I think it's what's keeping me all the time because I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
And it's not only about beach volleyball, like it's in all sports.
Yeah.
Even with friends and in school, I was always like try to win. And this joy of winning, it's this is the main thing that motivates me.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying, and I think it's like it's becoming like addiction.
Yeah.
So I think it's the best addiction you can have, sports and this taste of winning. And so I really like to win competitions, games, and championships. And that what drive me every day when I show up to practice. Even in the practice, like we are doing small drills, I'm very competitive. I want to win every drill, like every small game. Doesn't matter what we do, like small friendly game we play, I'll try to like all the time win. So you get used to this winning, and you're enjoying, not only enjoying the process, but the process is just a path to your goal. What exactly you enjoy. Because actually, like what people see on YouTube, on TV, that's what I'm saying. It's a cover of a magazine.
Yeah.
Because all the hard work, all these papers with a lot of text, is our off-season work. And for us, when we are in the stadium, because some people say, wow, what a nice job you have. Just playing on a big stadium with music, competitions, and you play beach volleyball and they are paying for you for this. And it's like, yeah, but you don't see this. Like last week when we came from Latvia for training camp here in Formosa, we usually practice 2 times a day. Not 3 times a day. I'm getting old. And so we practiced in the morning with Troy Budiger, and then in the evening it was a little rain, but minimum. Like just few drops. And pretty windy, but still you could practice. And we were the only one at the beach.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like not only on the volleyball court.
Like
there was no other people walking. We were practicing like, okay, it's windy, but in the competition it's always sometimes it's also windy, and it's we are playing in the really hard rains. They never stop competitions. They only like international competition is stopped only if it's lightning. When it becomes dangerous for health. Once because of winds they stopped in Marseille. Like wind was so strong that Todd Rogers was playing on the stadium court, and the stand with the flag, because it was so strong wind, it just broke and it's flying like javelin inside the court, like 1 meter from Todd. I was like, okay, we stop. We stop competition for 2 days. And but usually, like even if it's really strong wind or hard rain without lightning, we still go on. So why you should use all the time to practice in the perfect condition, and what's you gonna do with a competition then? Because I think it's always maybe not all the time you need to protect your health, not to get cold, but at least sometimes you need to try and practice in the same conditions that you're gonna be in competition. It can be that you practice in one environment and then competition completely different. That's why when the young athletes first time they start to play in a big competition with fans, with spectators, they're playing so much under their level. Because they stressed and completely different. Like people and somebody screaming. If somebody's from parents of the opposite team say something, or like opponents and music, and maybe referee calls, so automatically like block, and they can like keep their level. And so I think it's really important, and that's why we are from North Country. We used to practice in the wind, in the sun, in the rain. We just
you need it all. Frick, man. Like sounds like you have a lot of really cool experiences. So a question I have for you is like, what would be the biggest 2 things that you would give to youth? You know, you being a person who, like you said, 23, you're playing the top dogs and getting wins, you know, in some of these situations, and now you're more of like veteran style in the game. So what things in just that span of time, so not necessarily like the upbringing, but from the beginning of pro to now, what lessons would you give that are like your top 2?
So first one is for sure you need to understand that if you want to reach the highest level, then it's not only in sport, I think, it's only in life. Like if you want to reach the highest level, you need to understand that your life can be the same like people around you. Like all your friends, if you want to go by stream, you can't expect you're gonna be like 2 steps in front of them. You will just go together with them. So you need to understand that if they're going and watching Netflix for 2 hours after school, you can't do that. You need like to understand there are some things in life, if you want to achieve something, then you need to do things differently than others, and you need to put a lot of things away, entertainment, joy, now, and then in few years you will reach much more, and you could enjoy all the things on an even higher level. And it's the first thing that you need to understand. You can't have everything, playing video games, watching Netflix, spending time with your friends. Okay, I practice a little bit and I want to be a champion. It's never worked like that. So you need to work much more than others, because it's always, I'm sure you heard it, like when talent, that hard work always beat talent when talent is not working hard. It's classic, but it's true. It's so true. And so it's the first thing I would like to say. And the second is not to be afraid to experiment, to make experiments, and also develop your weakest parts. Because I organize camps, beach ball camps with people all around the world. And very often people come to my camps and say, okay, now we do cut shots, like really sharp cut shots. I'm giving them the drills and he's doing like deep shot or line shot. So, why are you doing this? Yeah, but I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
like I'm making a lot of mistakes at, yeah, but this is the idea why you are here. And for me, the main goal is to hit you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because if you're an athlete with only two tools, I would say, with tool A and tool B, but you're really good at this.
Right.
But you're just stuck with this tool A and B, and when the team with a really good defense comes in front of you, and they just block you and cover in defense everything, and you have, oh, okay, A is not working, B is not working, what are they gonna do? That's all. So what you need to do, so you have one A tool and B really good in using in competition, then you start to develop tool C in your trainings. So you do hundreds and hundreds repetitions. You do. Then you feel in the training process, you feel it. You're doing really precise, and you are very precise. You're not doing mistakes. So you say, okay, in some friendly matches, you start to use this tool as well. So you use, and then you feel it's like in friendly matches, it works also really good. You're not making mistakes, and then you can put ball really good. So then time to time you start to use it in competition. Maybe not in a crucial moment, but in the beginning of the set, or when you are in a big lead or you are really down, so you can try new things. And when you get used to this tool C in the competitions, then you start to use next one, develop a skill, next skill like tool D. And then you will feel, okay, C will automatically is in my box, so I'm using it all the time in competition. And then you start developing the next, and then next one. For sure, you need to continue practice on this A, B, C, but then you adding something new, more. And as more skills you have, as more dangerous player you are, and it's less predictable you are. Because if you're shooting line, you're shooting angle, and you can hit only angles, that's all. So people, when they play defense and analyze, especially now with all the cameras everywhere, everybody filming everybody, so, and then sitting and analyzing on the sofa. So now it's become beach volleyball becoming like a chess. So I know that they know that I'm doing a short baby shot behind the block. So I will show them that I'm gonna do this baby shot, but the last moment I will do cut shot because they know that I'm doing this, so they will run. So it's working like that way. So these two things I wanted to say, like hard work, like life difference than the other people around you, and second one, don't be afraid to make experiments and develop all the time. Develop new skills.
Yeah, those are two strong messages. Now, would you say you have two experiences in your life from a match, training, or practice standpoint that really stick out to you?
First one was like really stuck in my memory when I was one of the first World Tour, and we lost in qualification the first match, and so my father said, okay, we have practice after the match in the evening. So we came to the beach, and so we were doing some drills, and there was Chinese players. They were pretty good. There was Wuxu in like 2008. They were pretty good on the World Tour, and they were just playing for fun, 3 against 3. So my father came and said, like, can we play with you 4 against 4? So yeah, sure, let's go. So we played 4 against 4, and there was one Cuban guy. He was in the main draw, really good guy. So he had to play next day. World Tour, 2 matches. So he was passing by, and he saw us playing, and he just, okay, can I join? So he took his polo, like just stayed in the trousers, I guess, like sports, and he jumped in, and then some Chinese left. So we stayed just me and him. And I was 19 years old, and we played against 3 Chinese, like World Tour players also. and we were playing, and he was like, since first moment, he was running after every ball.
Yeah.
Like chasing every ball, like setting and like cheering me up. Come on, let's go. Like pushing me all the time to do. I was expecting he's like, okay, no problem, stay in the corner, I'll do everything. But he was, let's go, fighting, like running for the ball. And for me, it was like, wow, this guy have to play tomorrow. He just comes friendly match 2 against 3, and he's just
bringing it.
so into it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like really good. So I said, okay. And I was like, after that moment, it was also like kind of motivational booster for me.
Yeah.
I just said, okay, is it the way how you need to do things?
Yeah.
So it was a really good experience. And another one was for me, it's more about fighting with yourself, because when you play in a world tour, it's a lot of mental part in the game. Because everybody do everything, like perfect technique, physical conditions, and then in one moment, there's a moment when like decisive points, there are a lot of psychology.
Yeah.
And when it's a lot of pressure, and my father was always saying, there are like all athletes you can divide in 3 groups. Like 60% of people, they're the same, first point and last point. Then there are 30% of players who are really good till 16, and then last point they're just beginners. So start making mistakes. So they were hitting over the block, and then last 5 points they just start hitting out net. They just become really stiff. And then there are 10% who are playing really, really good, and then the last 3-4 points they play even better than they do before. And in these last 3-4 points, they can do even better than they do in practice. Like in the best practice they can do, like because of adrenaline, because of 100% focus and concentration, they can do like a little bit better than even if they're best practice. And these are 10% who are usually winning medals.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was like about more mental part, and then in 2013 we were the first year when in the last tournament we played in South Africa. We were number 1 in the world ranking at that moment, and Brazil, Bruno with Pedro, they were number 2nd, and we were like 60 points different. So if they pass us 2 places higher than us, they will be number 1 in the world ranking. And that was a week when Nelson Mandela died. So they canceled on Sunday. They canceled all events, and they moved it to Saturday. So Saturday we had to play 1/8, quarterfinal, semifinal, and final. And it was so hot. Like people were burning their feet. They were putting water on their feet just before the serve.
Yeah.
And we started 6 in the morning. Like first game was 6 in the morning. So after 2 games, it was so hot. I was so dehydrated. So I sit in the ice bath, and I said, okay, I go take a nap. We have after 3 hours, we have semifinal against Brazil, and it's like it's gonna be decided.
Yeah.
So I sit in the ice bath. It was the worst decision I could do. So I stood up from the ice bath, and I started to have cramps.
Yeah.
Like craziest cramps in my life. I was cramping like all body, like literally from legs to back, neck, my abs, hands. So 4 physios took me to the medical room. It was so hot, but because there was no blood circulation, I was freezing.
Yeah.
And so 2 hours I spent in the medical area, and one moment, so they tried to calm me down. I was screaming there, and then they're putting some electrolytes into me. And then the only thing that they figured out, so they put hot water on the towel, and they're putting hot towel on my muscles, so they started to release a little bit. And after 2 hours, I said, okay, like, I'm done with the tournament, like for sure, like withdraw.
Yeah.
Because I barely can move, like black in my eyes, everything, and so painful, like for 2 hours. And they said, okay, let's wait. You have 1.5 hours, and then they started to move my hands a little bit, like to start to have blood circulation, like moving my legs. I was like trying, like in the zen, because I was afraid. Like in the moment you like one muscle,
just cramps up,
the whole body. And then moving a little bit, and then I said, okay, now I'll try to take your seat. So I sat, and then I said, okay, so I was all the time drinking some minerals. And then I stand up, they helped me to stand up, and I said, okay, and now you need to walk. So what, and it's like, what? So, because now if you walk with the blood circulation, you wouldn't have cramps. But if you stop, probably you will straight will have cramps. So 1 hour before till our match, I was walking around the stadium court, and then Yanis came from the hotel and said like, "Where have you been?"
Yeah.
Like after a really good nap, he was like, "Where have you been?" No, don't worry, just chilling in the spa area. So I was walking. We started to make like because my muscles were so stiff. Like first set, my jump was
like 2 inches.
And like in it before the serve, I couldn't stay, so I need to make the first serve. Step forward, step back, step forward, step back. Time out. I'm walking. I'm walking back and forward, and this guy, like this physio, he was really supporting me, and he was also like, let's go. He's trying to massage, giving me the drinks, and I was like really like meditating for 3 hours inside my head, just focus maximum, and you just listen to your muscles, so there is no cramping. I started playing, and I said, yes, I can block for sure. If I jump, my calves will be.
Yeah.
So like, I will give you all on two.
Yeah.
Like, I barely can jump. And so we started to play, and it was like a match against Brazil. We had to win.
Yeah.
And Yanis said like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like on two, and he was played one of the best matches. He was just killing on two, every ball, serving crazy serves. Like Brazil's couldn't. They see that I'm barely walking, like I can't move. But first of all, the serve was like that, so not to me. And I was easy on two, and Yanis just going with 11, boom, killing. I don't know how we won that match.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we won, and then the next one we had to play in the final against other Latvian team, and it was very principled because we were like really fighting against each other. So again, I was like between matches, I was walking. Yes, it was Plavins with Solveig. He was another guy, and so we play against him because Yanis and Plavins they had a fight after London. So it was like, we can't lose to these guys. Like even we were first in the world ranking guarantee, but still. And then we won that match, and then we won 15-13 in a tie break. And after the match, we scored the last point, and I was like, my head was empty. Like after it, I was like 12 hours, I couldn't move. Like the guys, they were like holding me and taking me to the room. And there was American doctor, Marta, she really helped me a lot. So she was all the time with me, like giving some stuff, just like we can make injection if you need like a cramping, or we can call ambulance. So I was Yanis, and Yanis was laughing. Okay, we go players party. I'm just breathing, like I'm just listening to my muscle. So and this was a moment I was like, it's really give me a lot, like how your brain and your mentality can help you to stay focused in like small details, and like it's really like helped me a lot like for the rest of my career.
Love it. Shoot.
That's inspiring.
I don't have anything else.
I was gonna say.
That was gold. Do you have anything else?
No, I've had a similar experience to that. Didn't get the same result, but no, I had a player have a 3rd-degree sprain in his ankle, and it was in our first set, and he said the same thing. He was like, "I'm gonna set you on two every ball," and
you're a lefty.
I'm a lefty. You gotta have a lefty. And sometimes he couldn't set me, and he was like cutting people up standing, and I was like, wow, like these are like high-level volleyball players. Yeah. He's not jumping, he's beating them, and I was like, it was his mentality, like, oh, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna win. Like I don't care how injured I am. Yeah. I mean, in your situation, it's not like you could barely move, but that's impressive. That's cool.
No, I was actually moving, but I mean, like every move, you're like moving and you're listening. Like, will I have cramp? I'm not moving too much. Like my step is not too long. Like, so, like relaxed enough. And but it's actually it's very often happening when one player gets injured, when you see that opponents, they just stop playing on the level.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, they try to be like very precise, so the serve is not that effective anymore, so because they don't want to miss this injured guy, and also kind of fair play at the same time works. Like, should I serve this guy or not? But like my father has always said, like, if you can play, you forfeit.
Yeah.
Like if you show up on the court, okay, you can be injured, but it's a big sport.
Yeah.
Like opponents should go 100% all the time against you. Okay, if this guy twisted his ankle, short, every ball's short on him or deep over him.
Like a move.
Like okay, if you can play, forfeit. If you figure out how to play, go.
Yeah. Love it.
That's
Love it.
cool.
Yeah, I literally don't have anything else. The stories were dope, super informational. Like, I think if anybody wants to find you, how will they find you?
The best is Instagram.
Okay.
I'm pretty active on Instagram. I'm doing also educational tutorials.
Yeah, he's got videos. We're gonna have some coming out where he's showing you what not to do and what to do as of how beach volleyball goes. And he's still playing on the world tour. So if you guys are checking out the upcoming FIVB season, make sure to check them out. Give them a follow on Instagram. Any other messages you have from the audience?
Just play sports and get away from home. Video screens and yeah, and actually like sports brings so much positive emotions, so much nice contact with people on the same vibe as you are, and I met so many nice people all around the world doing sports, not only from beach volleyball but from other sports, and these people like who are in the sports, they from different planets.
For sure. So signing off for today, it's the Lion King, Lion Cole, Volleyball Podcast. We'll see you guys next podcast.
Hot mic.